Everyone. Thank you for joining. I wish I could see faces, so I didn't feel like I was going to be explaining to Kirsten what PCE is. Anyways, thanks for joining us today. We are here to talk about our marketing RFP and to give you an opportunity to ask us some questions. Let us start with some introductions so you know who you're talking to, or who's doing the talking. I'm Gwen Rose. I'm the Director of Marketing and Community Relations. Been with Peninsula Clean Energy a little less than 3 years now, and I've been in the clean energy, renewable, and policy space for about 20 years. Let me hand it over to Kirsten A.
Thanks, Gwen. I'm Kirsten Andrews Schwind, and yes, there are two Kirstens on this call. The fun thing is that we say our name the same way, we just spell it slightly differently, but at least we say it the same way. It makes it easier. I'm the Associate Director of Community Relations. I've been with Peninsula Clean Energy since before the agency was started, about 10 years, but about 8 years on staff. And yeah, I run our community relations team with three direct reports, and glad you all are joining us today. Pass it to Kirsten Grun. And you're on mute, Kirsten.
Yep, thank you. Trying to do all the things. Hi everyone, I am Kirsten Grun. I'm the Associate Director of Marketing at PCE. I've been at PCE for just shy of 1 year, and I lead the more traditional side of our marketing team. So I have three direct reports who handle web, social media, email, print collateral, all of that. And we've done quite a bit in my year here. So we launched a new website, a new digital asset management platform, a new email platform, and then currently working with Gwen on potentially finding a new name for organization, which is mentioned in the RFP. And so really excited to bring on a new agency or potentially multiple agencies to help us with all of this really exciting work in the year ahead. So yeah. And then just one quick note. We will have a moment for questions at the very end. We're going to hold questions to the end, but you're welcome to enter them into the chat or into the Q&A feature as we go along. We'll just collect them and then we'll answer them at the end as best we can. If there's any that we aren't able to answer in this moment, we'll be sure to follow up in our kind of formal response to all questions, and I will walk us through that timeline when we get there. So that is us, and Gwen, I'll hand it back to you.
Right, let's get to the next slide. All right, so here's what we are going to cover. I'll do an introduction to Peninsula Clean Energy, hand it over to Kirsten G to talk about the task areas and timeline, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. So let's just hop straight into it. All right, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Peninsula Clean Energy, we are a not-for-profit local public agency that serves San Mateo County and Los Banos with electricity. We provide clean electricity at lower rates, and we reinvest savings back into the community. Our mission is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by expanding access to sustainable and affordable energy solutions. We were founded almost 10 years ago, 2016. It was established by a vote of 20 cities in San Mateo County. It was a unanimous vote to form the organization. And then in 2020, we expanded into Merced County to include the city of Los Banos. So today, our service territory includes 310,000 customer accounts. The population size is about 780,000, and we have a participation rate of 78%, which effectively means we serve just about every home and business in our service territory. 3% of which covered by PG&E. The rest is covered by Peninsula Clean Energy or some direct access. Okay, so what we do, we generate, well, we primarily buy electricity. We do generate some distributed generation resources. Our energy portfolio is made up primarily of clean and renewable sources. So you can see our energy mix down there, 15% geothermal, a little bit of small hydro, 16% solar, 25% wind, 43% large hydro. Then PG&E delivers that electricity over their poles and wires. And then our customers benefit from that electricity in a number of ways. So if they get lower bills, we provide rebates, low interest loans, direct support for electrification and decarbonization. Next slide. So a little bit about PCA in the general context, and these are more, I think, targeted for folks who both aren't familiar with the community choice aggregation model and are looking at, we're looking in the RFP for some earned media and thought leadership support. So this provides a little bit of context there. So we are part of a larger movement of community-led electricity agencies across California. We're one of 25. The CCA model was established through enabling legislation in 2002. Today, CCAs serve over 14 million Californians across 200 towns, cities, and counties. And collectively, we've signed hundreds of long-term clean energy contracts that are helping to decarbonize the grid and create renewable energy jobs. And I was actually in New Mexico last week touring the Sunzia Energy Project, which is the largest clean energy infrastructure project in the Western Hemisphere to date. High voltage DC transmission line, 960 wind turbines. And of the 12 buyers of that electricity, of the 12 off-takers, 8 of them are remarkably CCAs. So we really are doing a lot to drive innovation in the clean energy space. Next slide. So I mentioned driving innovation. This gets to sort of the thought leadership element of what we're trying to do, which is influence what's happening at the state level, as well as, to a certain extent, the national level. And so what differentiates us is our unique position in the energy ecosystem. I like to say that we are the Goldilocks of electricity service providers. So we're not too big, we're not too small. So for context, PG&E has 5.5 million electric accounts. San Mateo, our largest city, is 45,000 accounts. So we have 310,000 accounts. We aren't so large, but we're not so small. And what that means is that we can actually scale programs, but we can stay nimble and responsive to our community. And because we're community-led, we're a not-for-profit agency, our decisions really are meant to serve the community and our customers, not shareholders. So I think about it as innovation in service of community. We have this combination of scale, mission, and local governments that allows us to step into big gaps that big utilities would traditionally overlook and that local governments can't staff. And I think another point here is just that we don't innovate for the sake of innovation. We really do innovate for the sake or for the service of the community. One example I just want to point out, we just celebrated this ribbon cutting at Bayview in Millbrae. I think, Kirsten, correct me if I'm wrong, almost 100 EV charging stations, one for every single unit at this multifamily complex. And so it's one of the things that we're doing is, in an area with the highest EV adoption rate, one of the highest EV adoption rates in the country, we recognize the need to reduce barriers to cost and infrastructure for renters and low-income households. And so this is one of the ways that we're doing it. We're offering used EV rebates along with low to no cost charging for every single resident in a particular multifamily unit. So our EV Ready program is just one of these examples where we have installed 2,100 EV chargers. 70% of those have gone into apartments or condos. So it's really innovative and it's a model that's starting to be replicated. So anyways, these are the kinds of initiatives that allow Peninsula Clean Energy and other CCAs to sort of pilot, test, and prove new models that other people can learn from. All right, next slide. So we reinvest savings back into the community. Since our inception, we have invested 60 million into decarbonization programs. That's through incentives, technical assistance, zero interest loans. And then the 200 million is how much has stayed in the community due to our discounted generation rate, which has been consistently 5 to 10% lower than PG&E's, and sometimes even more than 10% lower than PG&E's generation rate. We will be investing approximately 150 million back into the community over the next 5 years through things like a home electrification assistance program, financing solar and storage, public agency electrification. So a number of initiatives that we're focused on over the next 5 years, really on advancing decarbonization. From there, I think I can hand it over to Kirsten to talk to us about who we serve.
Great. Thank you, Glenn. So we have two parts of our service territory. The largest is San Mateo County, where we started. And then we also serve the city of Los Banos in the Central Valley in Merced County. There's a reason for that because we installed a large solar array, or helped install a large solar array near Los Banos, and that city decided to join us and get the benefits from that as well. So we have some stats here on our demographics. In San Mateo County is an incredibly international county. 35% of our residents are immigrants from all over the world. 45% of our residents are multilingual and speak a language other than English at home. About 20% are English language learners or low proficiency English speakers. So we do make a real point to reach out in a couple different priority languages, most importantly, English, of course. After that, Spanish. And then after that is kind of a tie between Mandarin Chinese and Tagalog or Filipino. So we have a commitment to diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion, which includes adhering to a language and technology access guideline of making sure that our materials are accessible to our customers in the correct language and also at a accessible reading level as well. Los Banos is also an incredibly diverse town with 72% of the population identifying as Hispanic or Latino. Also, about 50 to 60% of our customers are homeowners, and between 40 to 50% are renters, residential customers. We work with a number of community-based organizations through an outreach grant program that we've been running for about 6 years now. Every year around this time of year, we put out a request for proposals to community-based organizations to apply for grants to work with us on marketing and community relations. So they are a great asset. This is the list of organizations in the areas that they serve. They serve customers in Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin and Cantonese, Tagalog, and often Samoan and Tongan and some other languages as well. So they help us get the word out, especially to difficult to serve customers, difficult to reach customers, and will be an important part of our events. Many of them organize events on our behalf. Great, passing it back to Gwen.
All right, this is the last slide before we get into the RFP tasks. Just wanted to talk a little bit about our kind of evolution of our brand, noting that how we have been showing up for customers has changed over the last 10 years. So when we launched in 2016, our name clearly reflected what we did, which was that we served the peninsula with clean energy. And that clarity was important when our main goal was to avoid opt-outs and to build trust. So our early marketing really focused on education, helping customers understand what a CCA is and why it mattered. And then in 2018 through 2021, we started offering community grants and programs, and our brand and our look and feel shifted a little bit. It went from being approachable and friendly to being more kind of trusted utility professional. Then in 2022 through basically 2024, our organization doubled in size. Our focus really started to shift. We recognized that we wanted to move towards more of a customer-centric approach. And we had this big focus on electrification, how to provide services to customers. we had a brand survey. We do it annually. And our brand survey showed us that we had some gaps. So nearly 60% of customers didn't know who we are, and many didn't realize that we provide both electricity and rebates. And that set us on the path of rethinking the brand to better define who we are, what we stand for, and how we emotionally connect to our customers. So at the beginning of 2024, really started the brand refresh process, very foundational work to kind of understand what we wanted to sort of take of our existing brand and what we wanted to sort of carry forward and what we wanted to change and how we wanted to start showing up. So we did a lot of learning, a lot of listening. We rebuilt our brand strategy. The organization at the same time launched a contact center. We expanded that home electrification support, a lot of really personalized kind of concierge level support. As Kirsten mentioned, we rebuilt our website from the ground up. So that sort of brings us to today, which is we are on the cusp of our 10-year anniversary and we are considering a name change. And part of this is this recognition that we're going from marketing that when we started was primarily transactional, primarily focused on education. And today, what we want to do in order to get to higher levels of decarbonization is treat our customers more like partners. And that requires a deeper level of trust. It requires a deeper level of connection. And so that's what sort of the inflection point that we're at right now. And with that, Kirsten, I hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I'm going to briefly talk through what's written up in our RFP, the 6 different task areas. And once again, we're looking for one or potentially multiple partners to help support us in all these different areas to support our marketing community relations department. So with developing a new brand identity, program marketing campaigns, media relations strategies, community engagement, events and activations tied to our 10-year anniversary and so on. And so we do expect potentially multiple firms to be part of this. And so we really encourage you to apply and exhibit your experience in areas that are relevant to your field, your areas. And then once again, as questions come up, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will move back to them after I just very quickly give this overview here. All right, so task area 1 related to brand. So PCE recently updated our brand strategy to guide our messaging, positioning, and customer engagement, just like Gwen walked us through. And so we are seeking agency support to ensure that the strategy is effectively applied to a refreshed visual identity and possibly a new name for the organization. So support may include developing and refining the brand voice, personality, and customer-facing messaging, as well as developing a tagline that helps customers quickly understand and connect with our brand. We are also looking to evolve our brand identity, including the look and feel and the full set of design elements that shape our customer experience. So elements such as logos, color palettes, typography, and potentially a redesign of the whole visual system. And as part of our brand update, the selected partner will also deliver brand assets, such as brand guidelines covering logo usage, color palette, typography and graphic elements, templates for letterhead, business cards and PowerPoints, and then optional design for web pages, and potentially the development again for a tagline use. Task area 2 is related to marketing campaigns, and our 2 major campaigns moving forward are the brand awareness campaign and the 10-year anniversary campaign. So as Gwen mentioned, our current kind of level of brand awareness in our service territory is just around 40%, and we do have a goal to increase that to above 60% in San Mateo County and Los Banos. And so we're really looking for partners to help us do the work to get to that place, to reach that goal. So that campaign will play a critical role in shaping our refreshed visual identity, and if approved by the board, a new name that would be introduced in 2026. And again, as Gwen mentioned, the next kind of major campaign that we're looking ahead to is this 10-year anniversary campaign in 2026. We would expect to launch it at approximately the start of Q2 of next year. And really the purpose of this campaign is to celebrate PCE's history, impact, and future direction. And once again, depending on the board vote, it may also be a moment to reveal a new name as well as a new visual identity for the organization, really reintroducing us to the public. So both campaigns will require marketing strategy and planning, creative asset development, campaign management and reporting, media management and placement, community events and activations, as well as media relations support. In addition to these brand and anniversary initiatives, we'll also need ongoing support for our program-specific campaigns, so the rebates that Gwen mentioned as well. So really to promote electrification incentives, customer programs, and other services aligned with our mission. And once again, the selected partner or partners will be expected to develop creative assets across digital, print, broadcast, and experiential formats. And those deliverables may include any variety of things such as digital display and social ads, out-of-home ads like billboards and bus shelters, video, photography, TV and streaming ads, website landing pages, blogs, email campaigns, the whole kit and caboodle. And as the other Kirsten was saying, we really do prioritize DEI. And so all creatives should be developed with accessibility and cultural competency in mind, designed to resonate with our English, Spanish, Chinese, and Tagalog speaking audiences. Right, task area 3, so media planning and placement. We're also looking for support in developing media plans to maximize the reach, efficiency, and impact of our campaigns. So this could include broadcast, digital search ads, remarketing, print, display, and we will be advertising in both San Mateo County and Los Banos, our service territory. And so we really invite you all to provide examples of your media campaigns and just comment on your ability to provide strategy planning and placement, expertise in different areas, including broadcast, digital streaming, and out of home, as well as reporting and data analysis with clear optimization recommendations. So really using data to drive our decision making moving forward. Task area 4. So we're also looking for support with website design and development on our current website using WordPress with Elementor. So as I mentioned, we did just relaunch a new site. So really the purpose here would be to incorporate any new branding, potentially new templates, and have the web pages reflect our new brand identity, as well as potentially creating new landing pages and so on to support these program-specific campaigns, as well as the brand awareness and 10-year anniversary campaigns. So our partner, once again, must be able to provide robust reporting with data sources and assist with configuring dashboards and data tracking and so on. Really wanting to leverage the data to drive our strategy forward. All right, task area 5. So this is what the other Kirsten was speaking to. So we are looking for partners to support our community relations team in planning and executing events designed for both internal stakeholders as well as public events and activations for customers and the broader community. So these events may include both 10-year anniversary events and participation in existing community festivals and cultural gatherings, both ones that we have historically participated in and potentially new ones that maybe we would identify together. So for inspiration, we have compiled for you all a list of community events that we have participated in or may consider in the future. And that list can be found as attachment in the RFP on our website. All right. And then finally, task area 6. So for media relations and thought leadership, so we're also looking for support in strengthening PCE's reputation and influence through proactive media relations and executive thought leadership. So this work would focus on earned media to increase visibility among local and state policymakers, industry peers, community partners, customers, and other relevant audiences. So a selected partner would be expected to provide media relations support, specifically drafting press releases, developing media kits, cultivating reporter relationships, pitching stories, and securing coverage in local, regional industry outlets. Thought leadership, such as securing opportunities for our leadership to participate in conferences, panels, and media interviews, as well as developing op-eds, blogs, and byline articles. Reputation management, so helping position PCE as a trusted, not-for-profit alternative to investor-owned utilities, highlighting our affordability, reliability, and community benefit. Campaign integration, so aligning PR activities with brand awareness and anniversary campaigns to amplify reach, reinforce our key messages, and maximize our earned media value. And then finally, measurement and reporting. So tracking earned media placements, reach, sentiment, and share voice with recommendations for continuous improvement. Okay. All right. And then finally, as far as our timeline for this current RFP, again, with those 6 different task areas. So the deadline to submit questions to our team is this upcoming Friday, October 17th, and we will post answers to those questions by next Friday, October 24th. The proposal deadline is November 7th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we expect to notify the shortlist of proposers by November 14th. Interviews with candidates would then take place from approximately November 14th through December 5th. And we would hope to have our final candidate or candidates selected by December 12th to then have the contracting and board of directors approval and vote happen in January. So a quick and speedy timeline because we have a lot to do and a lot to jump into. All right, wonderful. So that is who we are as PCE. That's a little brief overview of our RFP. And now is the opportunity to ask some questions here. You're also welcome to direct any other questions to us again by October 17th at the email address listed here and in the RFP. So marketingrfp@peninsulacleanenergy.com. And once again, welcome any questions right now. Feel free to put those in the chat. And I probably will end my slideshow just so I can see as well. Okay, wonderful. Well, if you all are seeing questions in Q&A, I see it now too as well. I think we can go ahead and kick right off.
All right, Kirsten G, it looks like you have some questions around design, website. So three questions there. Do you see those?
I do. Okay. What does the internal team look like in terms of designers for both marketing and website? What design tool software do they work with? Wonderful. Okay. So as I mentioned, our marketing team is made up of 3 people, one of whom is basically dedicated entirely to the website, and another of whom she is our kind of in-house graphic designer and does support with email and other projects as well. So really, we do have the capability to do pretty robust both graphic design and web development work in-house. But the idea would be to really leverage your team's experience and also people to really just make our impact that much better and have it move that much more seamlessly. Um, so I believe that answers that. If there's any follow-up questions that feel free to ask that in the chat as well. And then let's see here. What are the current designs? Where are they stored? Is there a design system in place? I'm not sure if I quite understand the question. So our website is built in WordPress, and we use Elementor as well. So as far as where the designs are stored, if you're referring to templates, they would be in those platforms. As far as kind of more of the graphic design, and this may have been part of the previous question that I did not quite get to. So we do have access to the whole Adobe suite and kind of your typical graphic design fields as well. And so for storage, we use Box primarily for design files and things. And then we also use a new DAM, our new digital asset management system binder, to have kind of the curated library of assets that can be stored there and then shared internally as a library resource tool and shared externally if need be. And once again, if I don't quite answer your entire question, feel free to add one more to the chat again. Okay. Gwen, as far as the timeline, would you like to speak to that question from Jess?
Yes, sure. Let me see the question. Go through the 2026 timeline once more. So if we get the contract done January 6th, which is the hope, then we would spend essentially Q1 coming up with the visual identity and the plan itself. And we'll be doing a lot of planning over Q4 as well. But ideally, we would have the visual identity system done first, and we would start launching campaigns in Q2. It's aggressive, but 2026 is long. So there is some flexibility as to actually when in 2026 we do start. We have some things we would certainly love to be able to do. I'm sure Kirsten, we have a really active presence in the community around Earth Day. So that's April. It'd be amazing if we could reintroduce our new visual identity then. And so, there will be a question about whether or not we're relaunching the new name as well, of course. And then how that all fits together, both from the 10-year anniversary. The idea is that we honor our past, we use it as a moment to sort of intentionally step forward into the future. So we have these ideas about how nice it would be to sort of make this a coherent narrative around PCE kind of 1.0 and then step into this new name and this new brand. But it remains to be seen whether or not that will happen.
Great. And Gwen, it looks like the next few questions are related to budget and media. So maybe you want to speak to those next few as well.
Do we have a budget in mind? No, we have, I think we said go ahead and come up with a $500,000 sample allocation budget. That doesn't have to include the media spend, but we would love to see recommendations around a media spend, knowing that what we're trying to do over a 5-year period is to increase our brand awareness by 20%. I see a question about media clipping. Yes, we do have muck rack. Let's see. I see a question about PR metrics that our team is most interested in tracking. Let's have that as a follow-up question that we will post.
I think maybe you already answered Abby's question as well. Is the $500,000 budget supposed to be inclusive?
I wasn't assuming that.
Okay, great. Are we working with Figma? We have worked with Figma, primarily with other third-party vendors that do primarily use that. I don't believe that we have our own Figma, but we are adept at using Figma and Miro and Zoom whiteboards and a few other different kind of collaborative tools. Another budget question, Gwen. Are budget ranges okay to provide for fixed fee estimates?
We're asking for rate cards. Maybe we'll have a more specific answer in the follow-up. My instinct is to say that's okay, provided that we have the rates. I don't know, Kirsten. Do you?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Yeah. Exciting new phase for the organization regarding new name. Have you already vetted potential new names? Want me to speak to that? We sure have. In fact, it's going to a board vote next week, next Thursday. So we had an internal naming committee made of some board members and C-suite staff that did go through a whole process with a third-party vendor to determine what a potential new name might be. And so that will be going to a board vote where they will decide either to stick with PCE as our name or change. And if we do change, between two different options, what we change to. So yes, a very rigorous process and very exciting that we will have an answer as of next Thursday.
Before the RFP is due,
Yeah.
or the proposals.
Yeah. Is the rename a for sure thing? So I think what I maybe just hinted at, but no, it's not. So it's very possible that we could have gone through this process of determining a recommended name, and then the board determines to stick with Peninsula Clean Energy. So no, that's not for sure. But even if we do not change our name, there is still an interest to update our entire visual brand identity. So new logo, potentially new color palettes, potentially new typography, all of that, even if we do stick with PCE. Will this be a committee decision or the team on this making a decision on agency selection? Gwen, would you like to speak to that one?
If that's about the rename, no, that's a board vote.
I think this might be about the agencies that are involved in the different marketing pieces.
Yeah, it's a committee decision, or will the team on this be making the call? It's a team committee. So yeah, it will be made by a committee made up of folks across the organization, including C-team, folks on our energy programs and marketing and community relations.
Okay. Is there an incumbent agency? Do you want me to speak to that? Sure. So if that's referring to like, are we currently working with partners? Yes. And we do actually currently work with a few different partners to cover these task areas. And so that's why we welcome the idea that we would continue to have a variety of different partners that we work with, or potentially one if that might be the better fit. So we really do want you all to showcase your expertise and your experience and your qualifications in whichever areas apply. And then we can just see how the puzzle pieces fit together.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we've, I think had really good success working with full service marketing agencies as well as specialized who like really focus on that one thing. For instance, like the naming process. So really open to that solution, but there's clearly going to be a puzzle piece or a puzzle element. We need to make the pieces fit together.
Is the 500K budget multi-year?
I mean, that's a sample allocation. So I would say that's 1 year, really. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the assumption would be that's a 1 year sort of estimate.
Right. Yeah, and really the idea is that we just want to see what you prioritize. Like, how would you use those dollars? And that just makes it, one, a little bit easier for us to compare apples to apples between agencies. And then two, just kind of see, yeah, what are you prioritizing? How would you help us get the most out of that spend? What kind of stakeholder engagement are required for both the naming process and the visual identity? Um, Gwen, would you like to speak to this one, or you want me to start us off?
We could probably go for it. We are a very collaborative agency, so certainly there will be engagement, and that will be engagement of the staff, of the board, of our community-based partners. Um, so engagement will happen. I don't know. Do you want to add anything to that?
Um, Yeah, exactly. I think that's just it. So as far as the naming process goes, there's been a lot of stakeholder involvement throughout. So both from kind of a preliminary research phase, so gathering sentiments around PC's identity and mission and brand moving forward from staff, board members, our community advisory committee members, our partners out in the community, having that then inform the process moving forward. And then, as I mentioned, the naming committee, a subset of some of our board and C-suite, really helping to drive the decision making there, but it being really important for us to bring staff and board along and other stakeholders as much as possible, right? There's obviously a confidentiality piece to this as well. So as Gwen mentioned, yeah, collaboration, very important. And so visual identity, there'd probably be less of that amount of kind of external or other voices involved, but there would still need to be thoughtfulness and care around kind of the onboarding of a new visual identity to make sure that it is an exciting and gravitating moment that everyone wants to hop onto and be a part of, rather than it feeling like it's something that's imposed on folks. So that is really important to us to have that collaborative piece be front and center.
Yeah, and by collaboration, I mean collaboration in a way that makes sense, right? So like with the name, we did not name by committee.
Mhm.
It was a lot of upfront conversation about what is the job that the name needs to do, and then making sure that the customer research supported whatever that word or name was. And so in the same way, I think it's worth thinking about what the process will need to be collaborative around visual identity. But again, like it's not just open collaboration free for all. It's, we want to be thoughtful about how we design that process.
Yeah.
Uh, where are we at?
For Ritika,
Okay.
just three, or they have three different questions there. Gwen, if you want to take a stab at those.
Can you share a bit about some of the thought leadership initiatives that have taken place for PCE over the past 12 months? We have worked with media relations consultant, and the thought leadership initiatives that we've engaged with over the last 12 months have primarily been focused on what I would call right sizing electrification. Um, and so that's this idea that you don't, where where homes are concerned, for example, you don't have to upgrade the electrical service panel. You don't have to spend $50,000 in order to get a home ready for electrification. There are a lot of things that we can do to really manage the electrical load so that you can kind of do it in the right way at the right time at the right size. It's uh, so I think that's kind of the cornerstone of the thought leadership that we've been working on over the last 12 months. A lot of case studies, white papers, joint bill analysis showing what bills look like when you actually electrify. Um, and so, and a lot of thought leadership on EV right sizing as well. That idea that I've talked about with our EV Ready program, where we're doing, basically smart outlets at garages. The state had been prioritizing level 3 chargers. And we're like, yeah, level 3 chargers are important, but actually everybody, getting access to charging is also equally important. And so we really focused our efforts there. Okay. Does Peninsula Clean Energy currently utilize any technologies for its thought leadership and PR program? Not sure what technologies are being referred to there as far as thought leadership and PR. So I don't know if you have a clarifying question there, but
Would that be the muck rack piece again? Maybe.
is there a target number of agencies or firms that PCE intends to hire?
Yeah. Yeah, like Gwen said, we're like very, very open to any kind of variety of combinations that this could turn out. So like she said, we've had really great success working with kind of jack of all trades, like the whole kit and caboodle agencies, and then as well as those that really are their bread and butter is the one thing. So we really are just kind of interested in seeing what people bring to the table and what's ultimately going to be the right fit for our needs moving forward. Are we looking to our agency to determine whether or not to rename? So no, that's going to be determined by our board next week, but we will be looking to the agency to help us figure out what is the best way to go about that process, both in terms of kind of the tactics and logistics of a rename, as well as that, again, visual branding piece. So this agency would be very, very involved in the process of that, but not in the determination of it. Are we open to breaking down further than the task areas? For example, split the web design and the web development. Potentially, I think, uh, again, I think let's just kind of see what agencies provide as far as what they would suggest, what they recommend, and what your expertise and areas are. I think, admittedly, I probably was thinking about design and development at least being an option to come together. But again, we'll just kind of see where the pieces fall and how all of these uh, uh, potentially multiple agencies can help us just be that much more effective and impactful. Gwen, as far as like the preferred format for proposals, anything about slides versus Word documents or anything in between?
I don't feel like we need to be prescriptive there.
Yeah.
Wow us. Can you share any key insights or pillars from the updated brand strategy or the strategy itself to help ensure agencies build on that foundation? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that would be very important.
Would you like to speak to this one too, Gwen? Creative expression versus strategic rigor.
How do you weigh creative expression versus strategic rigor in the selection process? Is one more important to PCE at this stage? That's a great question. We have really leaned in hard on strategy for the last 18 months. I'm pretty excited to move away from strategy and into creativity and creative expression. I mean, for example, just thinking about we had a staff brainstorm at a retreat a month or two ago, and we're like, what are some ideas for how we might want to celebrate a 10-year anniversary? What about a community service project? And the ideas that our team came up with were really inspiring. And so, at this point, I'm pretty excited to start playing a little bit more. Um, But strategic rigor is always really important. So, non-answer for you.
And then reach out in response to their question from earlier. So yes, we do currently have Hootsuite. That is one of the tools that we have. Not necessarily using that for kind of a press thought leadership, which I think was the original question. More for social listening is how we use it now, but would be open to potentially expanding how we do use that in other platforms.
Yeah, I think we underutilize a lot of our platforms, so that's one of them. We don't use Coverage Book. I've used it before, but we don't use it right now.
Would we be able to see the brand strategy before building the proposal?
Yeah, we've given public presentations on the board strategy, or on the brand strategy, so I will go ahead and find those slides and basically include them as part of the Q&A.
Thank you. So we will loop back on PR metrics. We'll loop back on the brand strategy work that we've already done so far and make that available to folks. I believe we answered in full already the budget question. Again, meant to be sort of hypothetical. Let's see how you propose we use those dollars. And then if there's any other questions, we can wait on the line here. Feel free to go ahead and put those in the Q&A as well. And maybe Kirsten, while we're waiting to see if folks have any other questions, do you want to speak to events at all? So maybe either both events that the community relations team has already supported in the past, things that we're starting to think about as far as 10-year anniversary. Any kind of comments there you'd like to add while we're giving folks a chance to think?
Yeah, we are extremely active in events in the community. Usually attending events that other people organize because that's a whole lot less work. So we do about 150 events a year. Um, eh, and most of those are ones again that we are showing up and tabling or presenting at a community event that someone else organized. And often those are our outreach CBO partners that they will propose to us in their proposals to organize a couple of workshops for us. They organize them, we show up and speak. So that is very nice. But even though we have a really robust presence at events, there are some big events that we don't have enough staff time to really adequately staff. Big multi-day events. And so some of those were on the list in the appendix. And for example, we don't staff the county fair because it's just too big a lift for our staff to hold down a table for multiple days straight. And so yes, we are interested in for our 10-year anniversary, having more of a presence at some of those big events and open to your ideas of how to effectively do that. And it may not be like a traditional table. It could be something more creative that really makes a mark at those events. So yeah, a lot of room for creativity there. So for the environmentally oriented events, we've got those really covered. For the bigger kind of general interest community events like county fair type things, I think there's some real opportunity there to go big, to make a splash for a rebrand.
Thanks, Kirsten. We'll give folks a few more minutes for questions in if they like. Gwen, was there anything else that you'd like to speak to as far as like the brand piece or maybe a hint at brand strategy? And we can provide more information about that as well.
I mean, I think the key is that we are moving towards customer centricity. And so one of the things that we worked on with our marketing partners at ID Lab was a brand pyramid, for instance. So what is our brand essence that sort of describes how we want to show up for our customers, you know? So we have a personality, and that personality is bold, empathic, and thoughtful. We have our core values, which are candor, love of community, and champion of the environment. And then we have our functional rewards and our emotional rewards, our functional benefits and emotional rewards. The emotional rewards are we want after customers interact with us to feel respected, to feel pride and a sense of ownership in the organization, and to feel supported in the energy choices that they have to make. There was this a lot of conversation around, a lot of the energy marketing comes across as kind of shaming and guilting, and we want to step away from that. We want to show our customers that we trust them to make decisions that are in their best interest, and we are going to be there to help them like a trusted best friend. And then the functional benefits are clean energy, affordability, really trying to center the fact that we are doing what we can to keep rates below PG&E, even though rates themselves are generally high. And then experience is designed with the customer in mind, and we really do take that seriously. How do we do our program design, our marketing, our communications, all of these things really in ways that make customers feel like we're in the right channel at the right time with the right message. I think that covers it. And then as part of the brand strategy work, we have our messaging platform and our framework around the architecture of the brand and how that should really connect to programs so that they all reinforce each other, and a couple of other elements. A lot of the expression of our brand strategy, I think you can see if you explore our website. That was sort of our first external expression of our brand strategy.
Great, thank you. So I'm not seeing any other questions come in. One last call. Otherwise, as I did say, you're welcome to email any questions that pop up after this webinar. Just send them our way before this Friday, end of day Friday, to the marketing RFP email address. And we'll be sure to have answers to those distributed by the following Friday. I believe it was the 24th. So yeah, anything else? Gwen, any final comments or thoughts?
No, just appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're really, really excited about all the things ahead, and we're excited to have people help us to do it and to do it really well. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us and for your thoughtful questions and everything as well. All right. Great.